Jets Overtime presented by Nissan. Eric Allen and Anthony back inside the BetMGM studio. Soon we'll go back to MetLife Stadium and hear from Ethan Greenberg and Eric Coleman. The season opener did not go the Jets' way today. They fall to the New England Patriots 25-6. I'll tell you what, Anthony, it was a formula that we've seen over the past 2 decades countless times. Patriots didn't beat themselves. On the other side of the ball, the Jets had 4 turnovers, and you're not going to win in the league when you have 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I think over this 10 consecutive win streak, or what is it, 11 now, the turnovers are just off the charts, right, for both teams. And when you talk about what the Patriots do, especially the fact that they have a rookie quarterback starting as well, you didn't see anything spectacular from Mac Jones today. Today was about, they had a couple nice wrinkles, a couple screenplays. They were able to get themselves in a situation to get a couple first downs early, but really it came down to the shortened field with some of the interceptions and some of the differences that they did. As far as, you look at defensively for them, look, they just, rookie quarterbacks make mistakes. They took advantage of them today. We were talking about it earlier. Zach Wilson had 4 interceptions today. He had 3 in his entire senior season coming out of college. I mean, imagine that. That's for him, that's a big deal. That's a tough deal. I mean, you're going to have to go back and say, man, with a humbling experience today. But I have faith that he'll come back. The work ethic is there. Robert Saleh talks about everything he's doing to prepare himself. He did have some nice plays today, made some nice throws in certain situations throughout the game, but obviously the biggest ones are the ones on the mistakes and the ones you didn't complete and the interceptions and turnovers that you had.
Obviously a lot of self-inflicted wounds, but did you see anything from the Patriots that would throw a young rookie quarterback off in terms of schematically, what they were doing up front, what they were doing in the back end? Because it's awfully tough to start any game. Your first 2 passes go the other way.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the Patriots are a man team. There's man coverage across the board. For him, it's just being decisive, ball coming out of his hand on time, and if it's not there, don't throw it. If there's more than 2 blue jerseys around a guy, go another guy, right? Go a different direction. And, there were some circumstances. The first play, obviously, they had a designed play-action play to get Corey Davis across the middle. He kind of threw it, and it's one of those probably when, as he's throwing, he's like, you know what? I shouldn't have done it. The ball was a little bit behind Corey because he saw a guy come late. Yep. So there was 3 defenders in the area, and obviously you get yourself a pick. The next one is a little bit of a play-action rollout, and it was kind of like a flood concept with 3 different levels. And he had Elijah Moore coming underneath right now. And I think sometimes as a quarterback you want to try to check those other levels. But a coach will always tell you, like, listen, you turn around, Elijah's there, give him the football, right? Because he's a guy that can break a tackle and make a 2-yard gain turn into a 15 or 20-yard gain. So, again, learning experiences, you'll watch the tape. It's frustrating because obviously, you want the team to come out and do great. You want the team to have success. And on top of the fact that the other side of the ball played as well as they did when it wasn't a shortened field or there wasn't a turnover in play. They brought some pressure. They had a couple sacks on Mac Jones, and they stopped the run for the most part. So it was a great effort by the defensive side. Again, it's 3 phases, right? All 3 phases have to show up.
In just a moment, we're going to hear from Zach Wilson, who talked to the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen, after the game. You talked about the first 2 interceptions. The Jets were in scoring territory there in the first half, and right on the brink of making this a really close game, or it was 10-3 at that point, and then 3rd interception pops up where he's going to Elijah Moore. What do you think he saw on that one? And then that leads us into the second half. I believe the 4th interception came on a 2nd and 28, where he's trying to get all that back and then some.
Well, first the process for the coordinator and the head coach, okay, your young quarterback has 2 picks. It's the first quarter. Okay, listen, we got to make sure that the passes that are getting called are something that he can get out of his hand, he can see cleanly, and try to get him in some kind of a rhythm. And then you say, okay, as a quarterback, as a young player, you don't have the experience of going through these situations. Again, we just talked about it. He had 3 picks his entire senior year. He's already got 2 in the first quarter. And, what's his mindset? So the coaches don't know what that is. And you got this, as we watch him, is he going to be a player that's going to try to grab something and take more than what they give him? Or is he going to try to come back, relax, feed off the running game, take what the defense gives you. Well, there was a couple throws on those other 2 interceptions where you're thinking, okay, what was the plan there? What was the read? The ball kind of floated out. What was going on that made you, in your mind say, okay, after 2 interceptions, I got to come back, do something right. Why would I do this or put myself in that situation? And again, the learning experience is just understanding like it's okay to not do anything in that situation. Throw it at the feet of a receiver, throw it out of bounds, and just live to see another play. So, he's in this interview we had with him, he'll talk about his rhythm and not being able to get in a rhythm because of the interceptions early. But you're going to have situations where you got 3 and outs in multiple series and games. You're going to have to find a way to push through that. And again, that comes with reps and more games, and he's got a bunch of those left this season.
He certainly does. The Jets 0-2 on the season. Deflating 25-6 season opening loss at home here after dropping the road opener in Carolina last week. For the game, Zach Wilson, 19 of 33 for 210 yards, no touchdowns, and of course the 4 interceptions. For more on Wilson, let's go to Bob Wischusen, who's standing by with the rookie signal caller.
Zach, that was a tough day. How do you bounce back from that?
Got to keep learning, getting better. Like everyone keeps saying in the locker room, it's a long season, so we got to go in tomorrow and just kind of figure out how we can clean this up. And I think we're a great team, and I think we can be special, but we got to go in there and get better. And I got to play better.
Every tape is teaching tape. There's a lesson to be learned from every game that you play. What lesson do you think you're going to take from this after you watch the tape? Kind of first blush, first reaction after it's over. What do you think you're going to see?
Yeah, a lot. For one, just playing stats, you have 4 interceptions, you're not going to win games. So for one, I think our defense gave us a great shot to win that game, and I thought they did a great job, and we just put them in bad situations. I got to be smarter with the ball and, help our team execute.
Belichick's defenses are known, especially against rookie quarterbacks, to be confusing. Do you think that might have been the number one factor today? How many different looks did he throw at you? Did you just not see what you expected to see?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. They're a man coverage team, and, they mixed up a good amount of their cover 2 as well. And I wouldn't say that, the mistakes that we had were necessarily just based on not seeing what was going on. I thought we had a good idea what was going on in every single one. It just comes down to execution and me throwing the right ball and making the right reads.
So decision-making for you, is that something you're going to be taking to next week, hoping to improve?
Yeah, of course. Interceptions aside, that decision-making always can be improved.
Okay, thanks a million for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You are watching Jets Overtime, presented by Nissan. Eric Allen alongside Anthony Beck. We just heard from Jets rookie quarterback Zach Wilson. What did you make of his comments?
I think he's a guy that's desperate to get back in there and get another shot, right? As a quarterback and a player that makes mistakes and it's your first start and you come out in front of the home crowd, everybody's excited. I saw him come out of the tunnel. The kid was hyped up. The crowd was into it. And you want to perform well. You put the work in. The kid clearly puts the time in. But you're hitting a juggernaut because you're playing against a really good defense. Listen, it is the Patriots, but the defense is good, and they got a great secondary. That's the strength of their secondary. J.C. Jackson is probably arguably one of the best corners in the NFL, and he got his chance throughout the game, and he's not going to miss when he gets his chances. And if you're going to attack him, you better be on point.
Yeah.
Because if you miss a little bit, he can be right there. So. I think for him, in his mind, he's probably wow, like, did this just happen today? And he'll go through that tonight, and when he comes back tomorrow, he'll have to deal with, this is the other part of being a quarterback, right? A rookie. The papers, the media, all the different questions that come out, and they're the same ones, right? Like, what were you thinking? What were you doing? What did you see? And these guys like, well, you got to answer those things. But again, that's part of the deal. So he's going to learn all the aspects of the job, and hopefully he can come back. He's going to play a very good team next week. We'll get into that later. So it doesn't get any easier, right, in the league. So you got to have a short-term memory, flip the page, and learn from it.
Well, some of the numbers in this game are staggering. The Jets had 336 total yards. The Patriots had 260.
Yeah.
The Patriots went 3 of 12 on third down. That's 25%. The Jets rushed for more than 150 yards.
That's amazing. Yeah, it doesnno come together, right? You talk about those if you just said that and didn't talk about anything the quarterback did, if he just came out and just was 50% on the day with no turnovers, you'd probably be in the game. And I think the defense did a good job as well on some of those turnovers to hold the field goals or at least get a punt off. So, again, you were in the mix. 2 interceptions, you were still only down by a touchdown. So you still had a chance to get back in it and get a flow and rhythm. Zach talked about he couldn't get in a rhythm, and after those early interceptions, didn't have enough snaps. Well, he would have had the ability to do that if they could have got something going. And you're right, with the success of the running game today, you figure, okay, you'll be able to come back, but it just doesn't correlate. It's one of those things. Turnovers will kill you as a football team, and it shows today how that aspect of the game, and then you look at the rest of the stuff, how it all works out. You're like, man, this should have been a successful day for the Jets, and it wasn't.
Ethan and E are going to give a complete defensive breakdown of what the Jets did today. On the other side of the ball, though, for New England offensively, what do you make of their rookie quarterback? Just as advertised, right? Not flashy, staying in the pocket, protects the football, a lot of underneath stuff, and there you go.
I did pay attention quite a bit to his demeanor today. And if you watched him when they panned to him on the sidelines after series, you thought he was losing, right? There are no highs, there's no lows. They scored touchdown, he's back, he's looking at, that's the Patriots. He's already bought in. And that's just the way it is. And that's good for them because that's the quarterback they needed for that system to come back. They weren't last year's system. They want to be this one. But again, it's what they're asking him to do offensively. I don't see him taking too many risks. He's strategic in what he does. And they're saying, look, if it's not clean and your read doesn't dictate it right now, go down to our checkdowns because we got some really good check down backs. We got some really good tight ends that can catch the ball. So they're going to get their moments. They had a couple little wrinkles today, a little throwback pass, a couple cool screen plays, different things like that. But they do understand how to maximize his skill set. And the biggest stat he had today, even though his numbers weren't high, was 0 interceptions and turnovers, and that ultimately will win you football games.
Yeah, and of course we're talking about Mac Jones. At the beginning of the summer, people were talking about, hey, Cam Newton's probably going to be the starter at the beginning of the season. But no, Belichick threw a curveball at everybody, starting the Alabama product, who a lot of people thought he was going to go earlier in the draft, and he fell to New England at number 15 overall. For more on the Jets' defensive effort, let's go out to MetLife Stadium and bring in Ethan Greenberg and Eric Coleman.
Thanks, EC. Let's talk about the Jets' defensive performance because I know the score was 25-6, but we were just talking. It felt like the defense played a little better than the score indicated.
Yeah, they did. They played well. They were flying around the field. It was great to see guys like Michael Carter II out there making plays. C.J. Mosley was flying around, and the defensive line, for the most part, did a great job of stopping the run. You talk about they gave up maybe 100 rushing yards, under 200 passing yards. It was a solid performance by the defense. It was just they were on the field for a very long time, and in the turnovers, they'll kill you.
So for the Jets defense in particular, if we were to zero in on the strength of their performance today, let's look at third down. The Patriots were only 25% on third down. How important is that number moving forward for the Jets?
Oh, it's huge. Getting off the field is very important. Getting that ball back to your offense in good field position. I thought they executed third down well. They played well in coverage. Even when they played zone, they were still picking up crossers, communicating well, and really flying around the field. So excellent job on third down. Way to get off the field.
What did you make of this Jets defensive line's performance? 3 sacks. John Franklin Myers had a forced fumble and a sack. And you look at Shaq Lawson, he seems like he's starting to really play well and feel like himself. That's what he told me a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, Shaq Lawson, you can tell he's starting to get into his groove. And listen, he's out there celebrating, playing with fire at the end of the game, and it's great. I love seeing that. I love seeing guys who really care. When they're on the field and they step in between those lines, I don't care what the score is, they're going to put their best effort out there. And Shaq Lawson did that today. Jonathan Franklin Myers did a great job. And it was really a great job by the defensive line of getting pressure, closing those gaps, making it easy for the linebackers to fly around.
Speaking of the linebackers flying around, that leads me to C.J. Mosley. Led the defense with 10 tackles. His performance today, I know it was a loss, but what did you make of him?
Man, there were a couple plays. I said, who made that tackle? They threw a screen on the side, and he came through like a missile and made a great play on the perimeter, showed a lot of speed, and, he's known as a thumper. He's known as a run stopper, but the way that he's flying around the field is very impressive, covering sideline to sideline. Playing with that attitude is infectious, and it's going to continue to rub off on this defense, and they're going to play up to that level.
So moving forward now, the Jets 0-2. They travel to Denver next week. What does this defense need to do to put themselves in a position to win next week?
Well, I think they continue on the same trend. Try not to force the issue. When you lose a couple of games, you're not playing as well as you think you should. you start trying to make plays. You start trying to force plays. Take what the defense gives you. This defense is designed to make plays for the defense, let them fly around, and I think if they stay within the defense, continue with that confidence and that high energy, everything will work out for them.
Awesome. EA, back to you.
Hey, Jets fans. As you stock up for game day this season, keep an eye out for specially marked Pepsi products for your chance to win exciting Jets prizes from Pepsi, the official soft drink of the New York Jets. Eric Allen alongside Eric Coleman. You are watching Jets Overtime presented by Nissan. The guys just hit the nail on the head there at MetLife. Good job by Ethan Greenberg and Eric Coleman as always. Defensive effort has been very good the first 2 weeks. In fact, I would argue that those are winning efforts. Those are winning efforts, both what we saw in Carolina where they only give up 19 points. Yeah, it looks a little bit worse today where you give up the 25 points, but turnovers contribute to that. 3 sacks of Patriots quarterback there and Mac Jones, and then they had 9 tackles behind the line of scrimmage today.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And some guys flashed, right? Shaq Lawson flashed. You talk about Mosley flashing. Defensive line was active. You know, Marcus May was all over the field, being utilized because of the skill set that he has. And you know, again, you get some pressure on the outside, inside. Guys are doing their thing. They look like they had fun today in what they were doing. They look like they had blinders on of what actually was going on in the other side of the football as well, which is important for a defense because you can't really control and dictate what happens there. You have to go out and do your job, whatever the situation presents itself. So that's something to grow on and get better at. And another thing that I think really speaks volumes is the fact that how many guys got hurt last week that aren't playing or hurt in general. They're still able to bring even a better effort than they did last week when they had a few of those guys in that game. So it was nice to see guys step up, and it's going to be good to see some of these other players continue to get better. That got some extra reps today. Quincy Williams got reps today.
Yep.
Safeties got reps. Multiple players got in there and got their opportunities, and they made the most of it.
What do you make of the coaching defensively here from Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich? You mentioned the injuries. This is a team that's dealt with a lot of adversity on the defensive side of the ball. Carl Lawson's a prize free agent signing. He's the guy who's supposed to be bringing the heat off the edge. Unfortunately, he's out for the year. Jared Davis is a key part in terms of a young linebacker group, but him and Mosley are supposed to be the anchors, and Jared Davis is going to be out until at least week 6. And LaMarcus Joyner was going to be the guy playing alongside Marcus May. You talked about Jamin Sherwood going down. You had Quincy Williams, Quinnen Williams' brother, starting at linebacker today. I think the coaches have done an excellent job on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, the mentality of the coaching staff is always next man up, right? Whoever that guy may be. Now, in behind closed doors, they may be like, oh, man, how are we going to get through this? How are we going to put this certain blitz in? How are we going to do that? But, you know, to the team and to the guys, like, you got to coach them up. That's the coach's job. The head coach goes, listen, who we got? These are the 2 linebackers. Go coach them up. Who's the safety? Okay, Bram. What can we do with those guys? Because they did bring pressure. They did do some wrinkles. You don't have the closer that Carl Lawson is. You don't have him, so you have to create in multiple ways. And we talked about this in the pregame that you get a little more vanilla because you're utilizing younger players or guys coming up from practice squad that don't quite buy in. But you have to coach them up quickly because if you want to bring pressure, you want to do some things. You got to attack a young quarterback, which they're able to get 3 sacks against this kid. You know, you're going to have to get everybody up to speed, and you got to be in the right spot because if you're just going to sit back there and cover 2 or cover 1 or 3, whatever you want to do, they're going to pick you apart. You know what I'm saying, in a run game or the pass game. So again, guys stepping up and just doing their job properly is important, especially the guys that a lot of these fans out there don't know who they are.
Mac Jones was a sitting duck there earlier in the game. Jets were bringing the pressure. Didn't you think for large portions of that first quarter, the Jets were better on both lines of scrimmage?
Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, for not having Becton, who we know is going to be out
Right.
4 to 6 weeks, and then George Fant, who was pretty adamant about, listen, man, going to the left's not going to be easy. I thought they had great push. You know, the 152 yards rushing was exceptional. I thought all the backs ran the ball well today, and it's nice to have a sprinkle of all these guys. I'm always a big guy of, look, work the horse, right? Get the hot hand, but, you know, 2 guys I think were 50-plus yards. Coleman had some nice runs. but the aggressiveness was there. You know, we don't talk about him a lot yet since he stepped into the left guard spot, but you know, Vera Tucker's an exceptional guard. I mean, this kid gets it. He's physical. He looks like he's been doing this thing for a while. Played no preseason. You know, he's going to be again pushing the envelope for Mekhi Becton, who, when he comes back, is going to see a young player that was just like him the year before. So they're going to have that stability. But the tackles did great. You know, Moses on the other side did well. But the push was there, the physicality there. They got the message from last week, and they cleaned it up.
I'm excited by what I've seen from both Michael Carters. You can't go wrong if you're getting a jersey with a Carter on the back. Right. Michael Carter the second, I believe he had 8 tackles and a pass defense today. And Michael Carter, the 4th-round pick out of North Carolina, the running back, 11 carries, 59 yards. And Ethan talked to Michael Carter, the running back, after the game.
Here with running back Michael Carter. Michael, what didn't work for the offense today?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to go back and look on the film. I think that it's important that we just train to finish each play. New England was a good team, and I think that it's one of them teams that you got to be on your P's and Q's to beat. So I think just moving forward, we just got to go look at the film and see what we did wrong and did right, and build off what we did right and correct what we did wrong. Obviously,
Tough day at the offense for your rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, but did you say anything to him, and what did you notice about his temperament throughout the course of the game?
I think I'm really proud of Zach, and a lot of people, I think Jets fans are so eager to win that they get upset easily. But I feel like, with what we're doing right now, and we love the fans so much, and we want to win way worse than they do. Like, we want them to know that. So we're working every single day. I'm really proud of Zach because, amidst all the boos and amidst all the everything, he kept playing, and he made some great throws after that. He made some great decisions after that. So we're working every day. Nobody's perfect, and we just want to be great. So we're working towards that.
How comfortable do you feel in this offense? Feels like you had a very good performance. I know it's a team game. You averaged over 5 yards a carry and felt like you had one of your better days today.
Yeah, I feel like, first of all, our offensive line, they blocked it up. We did a great job. We came in with the right mindset today. And I feel like our mindset as a team is right, and we're developing into a championship mindset every day. And in a fight, you're going to get hit. But as long as you hit back, I feel like that's a sign of growth. And so I feel like even though we lost today, I feel like we grew as a team.
What do you guys need to do? Is there one thing in particular that comes to mind for next week against the Broncos? As an offense in particular.
Yeah, I just feel like it's always going to be about us. So, of course, they got a great defense. I think they got one of the best in the league. And that just speaks to the time that they put in. But I think as far as next week goes, like, it's about us, as it is every week. Like, we got to focus on what we got to do, because at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do to make things happen. Nobody's going to give anything to us in this league. As you can see, it's hard enough to win when it's all even, but when we're making mistakes, it gets way harder. So we just got to play mistake-free football.
Awesome, Michael. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Greens. You are watching Jets Overtime, presented by Nissan. Eric Allen and Anthony Beck inside the BetMGM studio. There is a young kid who gets it, Michael Carter. Yeah, wise beyond his years. Mac Brown talked about it at North Carolina last year. He was one of the guys in the locker room that he looked upon for leadership. And you saw Michael Carter addressing the fans during that interview. He wasn't prompted on that.
I don't recall ever doing that when I was a rookie. The last thing I was thinking about is, addressing the fans. But yeah, he does get it. It's good to have, when you're drafting players, you want to get exceptional talent, right? You want to get guys that splash and that pop on the tape. But when you get that other part, the high character, the integrity, the ability to speak, do an interview. I mean, those things are important because he gets it. You're right. That's as simple as it is. A lot of rookies don't understand. They're not. Their mind is in all angles, right? They're thinking about the car and the things and the money and all this stuff, and it's like, just think about your job, do your job, and the kid's going to be a special guy. I know they love him in the building. They love him as a player. They think he's going to be special, and he's going to break some runs down. It was close to. He could have had some bigger ones today in the game. And I just think, the more he gets it, the more he understands the run game and how it's being blocked. You saw a lot of little wrinkles today with the tight ends coming across, helping out with the zone and then the cutbacks. Those holes were there. It wasn't like, okay, he churned. He got some openings, which was positive to see, and I think that's only going to get better as the season goes on.
I was just encouraged by the run game overall. We keep on going back to it, but not only did they have the 150 on the ground, but Michael Carter, his long was 14 yards. Ty Johnson had a 17-yard run. Tevin Coleman had a 17-yard run. Zach Wilson showed his athletic ability and had a 10-yard scramble. So those are chunk gainers in the ground game. That's going to help down the line. But for the Jets, as we're watching Michael Carter, I love that low center of gravity, right?
Listen, he runs with his pads ahead of him, right? So he's always got that downward motion. He can slip tackles, and he's fun to watch. I think too, when you talk about those are called explosive plays. I mean, that's what you're getting when they get the 17-yard runs. I mean, that's like you don't get a lot of those, right?
Yep.
17-yard passes, but 17-yard runs. Those are big time thing. I mean, those are things you like. If you get 10-yard runs, that's really good. So, look, the run game was really good. I mean, and especially when you're using multiple backs, I go back to that. It's tough to get that flow, but they trust all three. And if all three can continue to be healthy for the season, that's dangerous because now you can get that balance that you want because you can lean on that a little bit to help your quarterback. And, I expect them to lean on that quite a bit next week.
All right, the Jets are going to flush this down tomorrow. Bottom line, and nobody wants to hear this from home, but there are encouraging aspects of this football game that they can take and move forward, whether it be the offensive line getting better push, whether the backs getting traction on the ground, whether it was the defense coming up big inside the red zone and on third down once again, getting a ton of tackles for loss, making Mac Jones uncomfortable in the pocket. These are all positives. We know it's going to be all about Zach Wilson. That's life in the National Football League, and he's a big boy at 22 years old. He knows what he signed up for here, and he's going to be in the spotlight. It's not going to get any easier next week because you're talking about a Denver Broncos defense that is one of the most talented in football.
Yeah, Von Miller obviously chomping at the bit. To be back this year and he's back, that's going to be someone they're going to have to deal with quite a bit. Listen, the pressure rises. I mean, you're a quarterback in New York, and you're a rookie. And, you got to be better. You have to improve yourself. And every week, you can erase the memories of the fan base in one game. You come back next week, but there will be pressure with that. It'll be a tough week. You got to get dialed in. You don't want to rehash it, but you do think about those things. You may throw a pick this week in practice, and you think, oh, man, you got to overcome those mental obstacles. And that's the biggest thing about playing the hardest position in sports, not just football. The quarterback has everything on him. So he can come out next week, go through his reads, do the right thing, get a good run game, be productive, don't turn the ball over, and the Jets are going to have a chance to win the game. And that's what you want to be, right? Get into the fourth quarter, play good defense, and then those are the times where you start evaluating your quarterback. 5 minutes left in the game, maybe you're down by 3 or you're up by 3, preserving a victory or gaining a victory. Those are the games where he really will start learning, and that'll ultimately jump his confidence up even more.
This is real adversity right now. The Jets are 0-2, and their rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, had 5 interceptions in 2 games. Like you mentioned at the top of the show, 3 interceptions all last year at BYU. They got to use this as a learning tool and move ahead. That's life in the NFL. It's tough. And the Patriots have been doing this for years as far as playing clean games. And a lot of times in the NFL, your buddy Chad Pennington always used to say this to me. It's not teams going out and winning games. Teams can go out and lose games. Yeah. Final thought here. I wanted to get your reaction to game day inactives.
Okay.
Tough break with Jamison Crowder. You thought you were going to get him back in the lineup. I guess the groin flared up on Friday, so he couldn't go. That's the second consecutive game where you don't have a valuable slot target for your rookie quarterback. But Denzel Mims also a game day inactive.
Yeah, and coaches talked about him pretty much the same every week. He said he had a great week of practice. For him, it looks like he's going to have to learn everything and be prepared to jump in because he doesn't have the ability right now to just play X or just play Z or whatever position. He has to be a guy like if you want to get on the field, you're going to have to, if Corey Davis needs a blow, you need to go in. If Elijah Moore comes out, you can go in. Keelan Cole, whoever that may be, and then Jamison Crowder is going to come back more than likely next week if he's healthy. So, and what does he bring to the table special teams wise? Because that'll get him active as well. I think he's a really good player. It's always tough when you have to learn a system last year, right? And all of a sudden, bam, you got a new one. That's just a lot going on. But I mean, now we're getting closer. You're getting into week 3. You hadn't dressed this week, okay? People are starting to talk about you and this and that. Coaches are not calling you out, but they kind of are saying, listen, if you want to get it together, you'll be out there. And even if he does get it out there, the one thing I heard from coaches, you just got to be better than the other guys that are active. So it's a combination of not just knowing your plays, but are you going to be effective?
And then special teams, like Salah just talked about that before, and you know this better than anybody. When you're filling out your lineup and it's the 4th or 5th receiver on game day, special teams is going to play a heavy weight that goes into these roster decisions.
Look, he's a kid that didn't play special teams in college. He gets drafted high. Some people thought he would go in the first round, right? He comes to a team, and that's the last thing on your mind, right? And now it's the only thing that should be on your mind because that's what's going to get him active right now. If he can get active and he's putting the work in and understanding the playbook and he jumps in there, he's going to get those chances. He's going to play. Smith was in there today. He got a catch. He got opportunities. He's going to get in the game. So, again, look, he's a great kid. I know he's working hard, and the coaches like him. It's just a matter of him just getting down. This is what it takes to be an NFL player and a loaded roster at a position that's never really been loaded here for the Jets the last 5, 6, 7 years. So, that's what he's dealing with right now.
And finally, in conclusion here, can we just talk about the fans? I thought they were incredible today.
Oh, man,
we were there. You were there for the first half. We did pregame central out there on the island this morning. It was loud through the TV when I got back to the studio here. The place was electric. It was jumping. They are so hungry for a winner. And hopefully this young roster can continue to show signs of improvement down the stretch. And they get to celebrate some wins.
They will. I mean, I liked some things Elijah Moore did today, right? I mean, I lost my, 85-plus yards touchdown, but again, you could tell if he gets touches, he could be dangerous, right? Corey Davis not being at the top of the reception chart today, that hurts because he's a true one. A true one doesn't have 2 catches for less than 10 yards. That's just what it is. They designed to get the ball to him a little bit, but the Patriots knew that, right? They knew they were going to try to get him the ball. So, you're right. You grow from it, and it is a little bit of a promotion for us. The island, get there. Next couple home games, we're going to be out there. So get to the island, get behind us. You'll get on camera. Everybody likes getting on camera, right? So come join us and have fun with us. That was great, though. I loved it.
Yeah, hell of a job by the fans today. No doubt about it. It was great being back with everybody. It's been nearly 21 months since the Jets had a regular season game at MetLife Stadium. That streak ends today, unfortunately. The Jets go down 0-2 on the year after a 25-6 loss to the Patriots for Ethan Greenberg, Eric Coleman, Anthony Becht. I'm Eric Allen, and let's wish Matthew Sitkoff, who is our technical director, a happy 40th birthday. Good night, everybody.